Welcome back, student. Today we'll start our new chapter, that will be chapter number 5, Emerging Modes of Business. I hope you are following the appropriate behavior of COVID-19, which is explained to all of you in the previous video also. And that is to maintain the social distancing of at least 6 feet from each other, to sanitize your hand or wash your hand frequently, and to wear masks properly, which should cover your mouth and nose. So these are the only 3 ways by which we can protect ourselves and other also by COVID-19. So let's start our chapter number 5 today, that will be emerging modes of business. Now children, in this chapter there are lots of content and topic which has been deleted by CBSE this time. So we will cover only those chapter which are in your syllabus this time. So let's start emerging mode of business. So as the name is saying emerging mode of business, it should be understood to you now that in this chapter we are going to read about the different way and how the things or business has been conducted earlier and how the way of conducting business has been completely changed right now. So the way of changing business we are going to read out, or we are going to understand this in this chapter, that will be emerging modes of business. Now what do you mean by modes of business? So student, the modes of business, basically you can understand the manner of conducting business is called as mode of business. It means how we organize our business, how we conduct our business, that manner is called as mode of business. Now if we compare the mode or the manner of conducting business into the traditional time or into the earlier time and today time, we have found that right now today the way of conducting business is completely dependent on technology, networking, electronically, right? The earlier time where most of the work was done by human being, but today time where most of the work is done by technology, or we used to do most of the work electronically in business. So the way the business has been changed from past to right now, that manner is called as mode of business or the emerging mode of business. Now how things has been changed from past to right now for the conduction of business depend on 3 elements, or you can say there are the 3 main things by which we can say the business has been shaping into a new manner. That was digitization, you can see here also. The second is outsourcing, and the third is internationalization and globalization. Now these are the 3 things which was not there in the traditional way of conducting business, but right now these 3 things has changed the manner of doing the business. Digitization, basically we are going to read it deeply into the next topic, but right now you have to understand it that conversion of text, sound, images, videos and other content into a series of 1 and 0 can be, which can be transmitted electronically, is called a digitization. For example, I'll give you that when we talk about computer understand only machine language, right? We used to type lot of thing into the computer, like your alphabet, your numbers, but what computer did, computer accept that as a form of binary language, that is 0 and 1 only, because it understood only the binary language, that is 0 and 1, which we call as a machine language also, right? So this way what computer is understanding, then giving you output as a form of that language which is understood by us. So same thing is happening here into the business also, that right now the business is conducted as a form of digitization. Digitization basically means where the text, sound, images, videos and any other content which we are using in our business, we are converting that into a form of 1 and 0. Converting that into a form of 1 and 0 means using machines, right? So digitization, you can understand that using more and more electronical thing into the world of business is called as digitization. Now next is outsourcing. Outsourcing basically means we have an example of outsourcing as BPO, call centers. So these all are what? These all are the example of outsourcing. Third is internationalization and globalization. Internationalization and globalization basically means where we are conducting business not into a boundary of our country, but it is spreaded into the other country also. That in easy manner we can say globalization or internationalization. Now this is all about the three way by which the business way or the conduction of business has been completely changed. So children, first thing you have to understand here that what is mode of business. So the definition will be the manner of conducting business is called as mode of business. And why we are reading this chapter here? We are going through with these chapters just to compare that how the business was done in earlier time, means traditional business, and how we are recently doing the business. Business has been completely reshaped because of three elements, that was digitization, the second is outsourcing, and third is internationalization, or which we can say as globalization also. Now we will be going through with the e-business. Now because if we are talking about the reshaping of business, where we are talking about digitization, means we are talking about e-business, that is electronic business. We are talking about outsourcing, we are talking about globalization. So these all are linked with e-business or electronic business. Now what is electronic business? So children, when we say electronic business, means you can just remove e and remember business. Business क्या है? Business is basically all those ranges of activity, all those activity which consist industry also, which consist trade also, and which consist commerce also, that is business. It means when we add industry, trade and commerce together, we got business. Now when we talk about e-business, e-business can be defined as conduction of industry, conduct of trade, conduct of commerce through using computer network, that is called e-business. It means business क्या था? Business वो सारी activities है जो include करती हैं industry से related, trade से related and commerce से, that is called business. Now when we are doing all these activity of industry, trade and commerce by the help of computer network, we said it, this is e-business or electronic business, right? Now only one thing is there, when we talk about in network, the network you are most familiar. It means the network which we are using mostly as a student or as a consumer is a public internet network, means that is internet. But whereas internet is a public throwaway, firm use more private and hence more secure network. It means the network which we use, that is internet, right? Anyone can use that. So this is a public internet. But when we talk about business which run into a e mode, means electronic mode, so they use a network which is more safer. They use a network which is more private network. Now today we will be discussing about the scope of e-business. Now scope of e-business is very vast, and it's not only utilized in some area of business function, but electronic business is not only utilized for the purpose of communicating things from investor to supplier or from producer to consumer, but it is also used into the different business function. That is the reason we said this, that the scope of electronic business is very vast. Now example where we can use electronic business, like for production we require to use electronic business. Electronic business we are using for finance. It is helping us for marketing purpose. It is helping us for personal administration, or even in so many other areas also, where we have to manage the activities like planning, organizing, controlling, and these all things we are doing by the help of computer network. That is the reason we said that the scope of e-business is very vast. Now in this chapter today we will be discussing about the scope of e-business, and we will be taking it in the context of how many parties are involved into the e-business. So let's see. In e-business basically the first will be B2B scope. Now B2B scope is basically first alphabet of B is for your business and the second alphabet of B is your for the purpose of again business. It means when a business organization is interacting with the other business organization, that is called as interaction of B to B. Now the second scope is B2C. B2C means एक बिजनेस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इंटरेक्ट कर रही है बिजनेस कंडक्ट करने के लिए किससे, सी से. इट मीन्स here a business organization is interacting over the computer network with customer, that is known as business to customer. So again here they are using computer network. The third is IntraB. IntraB basically means where both the parties who are interacting over the computer network are belonging to one business organization only. So that is known as IntraB. So children, you have to understand here that scope of e-business basically we are discussing here that where are the different menu and what are the different field where we use electronic business, means where we are using computer network for the purpose of interaction. So the first is B2B, where a business organization will use computer network for interacting with the other business organization, that is called B2B. Second is B2C, where a business organization will use computer network to interact with its customer. And third will be IntraB. IntraB means where a business organization, one person can interact with other person, one department can interact with other department by the help of computer network, but both these people, those who are interacting, they are belonging to a same firm. That's why this scope is called as IntraB, right? Now let's see, we can discuss this by help of examples also. The first, B2B commerce. Now lots of things are written in your book children, but you have to understand the basic point here, that is B2B commerce. Both the parties involved in e-commerce transactions are business firm and hence the name is B2B, that is business to business. It means here what is happening, both the party who are interacting over the computer network are belonging to business, means one business firm is interacting with the another business firm. Now why one business firm need to interact with another business firm? It can be possible when a business firm is making or manufacturing one particular product and they require the other product from another business firm or organization. In that case they both need to coordinate each other. For example, we can take an example of computer also, that when we make computer, when we manufacture computer, we require lots of it part. Suppose there is two organization A and B. A is making only the input part of computer and the B is making some output part of computer. In this way what we have to do, the A need to interact with B. So this interaction will be called as business to business commerce. Now this is the first scope of your electronic business and the second will be B2C commerce. Now again B means business and C means customer. It means the party who are involved here into the transactions are one side the business firm and at the another side it will be customer. Now what come to one mind is online shopping. It must be appreciated that selling is the outcome of marketing process. Now we can say B2C commerce. B2C commerce means where both the party who are involved here into the computer network interaction is one party is your business organization or business firm and the second party is customer. Now what type of dealing can be here? They have even given the example also that when we talk about the online shopping, that is an example of B2C. Why? Because there are lots of platform which has been made for online shopping, like you have example of Amazon, you have example of Flipkart and so many things are there. So what is happening there? A business firm, right? They have made their own domain, they have made their own website, they are interacting with whom? To the customer, right? So This is a way they both are using computer network to interact with each other. So when a business organization interact with its customer over the computer network, we call that B2C commerce. Now the third will be your IntraB. Now IntraB basically means parties involved in the electronic transactions are from within a given business firm, hence the name is IntraB Commerce. It means both the parties who are interacting here or who are involved here into this electronic transactions are from a same business firm. Right, as I have told, it can be the supplier investor, it can be one department person talking to the another department person. So where the firm is one only, but both the party are interacting over the electronic method, that will be called as intra-B commerce. Now children, this is all about the scope which is according to your syllabus, but there are other way also which we are just going through with a little bit. We don't need to go very deeply in that. That is C2C commerce. Now C2C commerce basically means C is for customer and the another C is also for the customer. It means customer to customer commerce. Here basically means business originated from the consumer and the ultimate destination is also consumer. Thus the name C2C commerce. This type of commerce is best suited for dealing in good for which there is no established market mechanism. For example, selling used book or clothes either on cash or barter basis. It means C2C. Both the party who are involved here into the electronic transactions are customer. Now how it can be possible that both the party are customer? It's possible, like you have purchased a book, right? So you become customer there, right? When you are selling that old book to somebody else which is already purchased by you, you again become seller there, but the another person become customer there. But when you purchase that book in the first time, I am the customer. You have sold it to somebody else, that person also become the customer. So this type of transactions, or this is an example of C2C commerce. Simple children, I have purchased one book, so I become customer. I have sold that old book to somebody else. So that person who is going to purchase that book will be also the customer of that particular book. So here both the party who are interacting with each other into the computer network, or both the party who are indulged here into this electronic transactions are customer only. So that's why this is called as C2C commerce. Student, this is all about your electronic business and what are the different scope of electronic business. The next we are going to study here about e-business versus traditional business. It means what is the difference between electronic business and the traditional business. So this we will discuss here today by the help of this table. Now I hope this table is clear to you. Difference between traditional and e-business. Now basis. The first base is easy of formation. It means which is easy to start. So traditional business was difficult to start, but e-business is simple to start. We can easily start the e-business. We don't require to go through with a lots of structure or framework which we require in traditional business. Suppose if you want to start a business in a manner of traditional, so what we basically used to do, we have to purchase lots of assets, we have to purchase building, we have to arrange lots of structures, also physical structures. But e-business में we don't need to do that. हमें क्या करना होता है, we do only require to have a domain, एक website बनानी है, and you can able to sell and purchase your things. So it is easy to start it's easy to start e-business, but it's difficult to start ट्रेडिशनल बिजनेस. ना फिजिकल प्रेजेंस, किस बिजनेस में फिजिकली प्रेजेंट रहना पड़ता है, दैट इज ट्रेडिशनल बिजनेस में. ट्रेडिशनल बिजनेस में बायर ऑल्सो एंड द सेलर ऑल्सो नीड टू बी फिजिकली प्रेजेंट दैट टाइम. जब आप शॉप में बैठोगे तभी आप कुछ सोल्ड कर सकते हो. व्हेन कस्टमर विल कम टू फिजिकली कम टू द शॉप, देन ओनली ही और शी विल एबल टू परचेज इट. बट इन केस ऑफ ई बिजनेस, physical presence is not required. The person who is the seller, he is sitting at home, website में automatically order आ रहे हैं, the things are sold. Same thing, customer is sitting at home and he is ordering lots of things from a different area. So physical presence is required in traditional business, but it's not required in e-business. Next is locational requirement. Now locational requirement means proximity to the source of raw material or the market for the product. It means when we talk about traditional business, we require a location, means a particular product is sold in this particular area, so we have to go through that location only. But in case of e-business, now this location requirement is not there. You can demand a product from anywhere into the world. Next is cost of setting up. Now, when we start a traditional business, the cost incurred for setting the traditional business is high. Why? Because we require more physical structure there. आपको बिल्डिंग अरेंज करनी पड़ती है, आपको ट्रांसपोर्टेशंस के अरेंज करने पड़ते हैं, आपको स्टोर हाउस अरेंज करना पड़ता है, एंड लॉट्स ऑफ अदर थिंग्स आर देयर. बट इन केस ऑफ ई बिजनेस, देर इज लो कॉस्ट रिक्वायर्ड इन कंपेरिजन टू ट्रेडिशनल बिजनेस. Now, operating cost. Again, high due to fixed charges associated with investment in procurement and storage, production, marketing and distribution facilities. Low as a result of reliance on network of relationship rather than ownership of resources. It means when we talk about operating cost, traditional business has high operating cost, and the reason behind is that we have to go through with the physical structure also, प्लस आपको स्टोरेज के लिए फैसिलिटी चाहिए होती, आपको प्रोडक्शन, मार्केटिंग, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन, ये सारी फैसिलिटीज़ करानी पड़ती है जो कि एक्सपेंडिचर इंक्योर करते हैं, जिसकी वजह से जो फिक्स चार्जेस होते हैं और ऑपरेटिंग चार्जेस कॉस्ट जो होती है आपकी वो इंक्रीज़ हो जाती. बट इन केस ई बिजनेस we don't need to do all those things there. We basically require a network by which we can do all those things, so the operating charges or fixed charges are less. Next is nature of contact with the supplier and the customer. Now किस तरह का कॉन्टैक्ट होता है इसमें सप्लायर और कस्टमर के साथ में. ट्रेडिशनल बिजनेस में इनडायरेक्ट थ्रू इंटरमीडिएटर, बिकॉज द पर्सन हु इज़ द प्रोड्यूसर ऑफ अ प्रोडक्ट इज़ नॉट गोइंग टू टॉक टू द कस्टमर डायरेक्टली. वो क्या करता है, रिटेलर, होलसेलर के थ्रू अपने प्रोडक्ट को कस्टमर तक पहुंचाता है. तो जो इंटरमीडिएटर्स होते हैं इसमें ज़्यादा यूज़ होते हैं. That is the reason we said it's indirect contact, because the producer is not directly communicating with the customer. So indirect हो गया. But in case of business it is direct, because the person who is the seller, they used to make the website, they put all those details of the product on the website and they take the feedback and query of the customer directly. Next is nature of internal communication. इट मीन्स इसमें इंटरनल कम्युनिकेशन कैसा होता है ट्रेडिशनल बिजनेस में. सो इन केस ऑफ ट्रेडिशनल बिजनेस देर इज़ अ प्रॉपर हिरारिकी सिस्टम विच इज़ फॉलोड फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन. और वो हिरारिकी क्या होती है, फ्रॉम टॉप लेवल मैनेजमेंट टू मिडिल, फ्रॉम मिडिल टू लोअर एंड लोअर टू ऑपरेटिव. इट मीन्स आपकी कोई भी इंस्ट्रक्शन होगी, कम्युनिकेशन होगी, वो कहाँ से आएगी, टॉप से आएगी. देन इट विल कम टू मिडिल लेवल पीपल, देन लोअर एंड देन ऑपरेटिव लेवल पीपल. So proper hierarchy from top to down is followed in case of traditional business, but in case of e-business it is non-hierarchical, allowing direct, vertical, horizontal and diagonal communication. It means anyone can talk with any way by the help of website networking. Next is response time for meeting customer internal requirement. It means customer की जो requirement होती है उसको complete करने में और उसको response देने में how much time it took. So traditional business took long time. Why? Because even for giving a feedback from a customer to a producer, they require to be physically present, right? So which took time. But in case of e-business, for giving any response, whether you like the product, whether you don't like the product, we don't need to do anything, we just need to type. It took only 2 seconds to send the response. So it is immediately response can be sent in case of e-business. नेक्स्ट इज शेप ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल स्ट्रक्चर्स. इट मीन्स ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल स्ट्रक्चर्स का जो शेप होता है वो कैसा होता है. सो इट इज़ ऑलवेज वर्टिकल. वाई वर्टिकल? बिकॉज आई हैव एक्सप्लेन यू दैट here we followed the system of top to down. It means there is a proper way of hierarchy communications. Top level ko if have they have to communicate to the down level people, so first they will communicate it to the middle level, then lower level and then operative level. So जो shape होगा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का वो कैसा होगा, वर्टिकल होगा और टॉल होगा. But in case of e-business, it can be horizontal, it can be flat, or it can be any direction. Next is business processes and length of cycle. So it is sequential precedence, succession relationship, purchase, production, operations, marketing, sales. The business process cycle is therefore longer. It means because we are following a proper hierarchy in case of traditional business, so all the things occurred into a proper sequences manner. It means first there will be purchasing of raw material, then there will be production, then there will be operation, then there will be marketing, then there will be sell. So this is a whole long process, right? But in case of e-business, the things can be done immediately. Different process can be done together, so it make it more shorter. Next is opportunity for interpersonal touch, where we have more interpersonal touch and where the customer and producer or the customer and seller are more touch with each other. So it is definitely in case of traditional business, because here both of them are talking or interacting directly with each other. But in case of there is less personal touch with the buyer and the seller. नेक्स्ट इज अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर फिजिकल प्री सैम्पलिंग ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट. इट मीन्स कहाँ पे आप परचेज करने से पहले ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा प्रोडक्ट की सैम्पलिंग देख सकते हैं physically. So definitely it will be in case of traditional business, because physically a buyer need to go to the shop for purchasing anything. In case of traditional business, so he has more choice to see other material also as a form of sampling. But in case of e-business, because everything goes in a digitable manner, so we have less choice of sampling. Now easy of going global, where we can easily go global. Easily going global means आप अपने प्रोडक्ट को ईजिली दूसरे मार्केट में या दूसरे कंट्री के मार्केट में सोल्ड कर सकते हो. सो इट विल बी in case of traditional business, it's less to go global. Why? Because we are required physical presence here, so we cannot cross the boundaries of country. It's very difficult. But in case of electronic business, it is much easier to go global, because anytime without boundaries, crossing of the boundaries, by the help of website or networking, we can able to sold and purchase the product from any countries. Now next is government patronage. It means shrinking, much as IT sector is among the topmost priority of the government. It means the government is giving more importance to the e-business in comparison to traditional business, because the IT sector is a topmost priority of the government. Government is also giving more and more opportunity for the IT sector, because this is the only way by which we can go through with the process of globalization. Next is nature of human capital. It means human capital का nature कैसा होता है, इसमें किस तरह के human capital की हमें ज़रूरत होती है. Human capital means human resources, we can understand. So in case of traditional business, we required semi-skilled and even unskilled manpower needed. It means when we are going through with the traditional business, if somebody is semi-skilled, who is not so qualified, little bit qualified, or even unskilled, can also run up the business. But in case of electronic business, we required people who are technically educated, professionally qualified. Next is transaction risk, where we have more transaction risk. So in case of traditional business, there is a less transaction risk. Because why? Because face to face the customer and seller are interacting with each other. But in case of electronic business, there is high transaction risk due to the distance and due to the indirect contact of customer and seller. So student, this was all about your differentiate between traditional business and electronic business. So you have to only understand one thing, that traditional business means way we are doing the business according to our older manner, where we are not utilizing more technology. But in case of e-business basically means a new platform, a new mode of conducting business by the help of computer network or by the help of internet. That's all. In the next video, we will read about the another topic of internet business.